Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Tim Hayden. I'll be your host. We have another great show for you. Our guest is returning, the magnificent Tonja Walker. She's here to talk about life, career, not to mention that she's a friend of the show. Tonja is an Emmy nominated actress, Tony nominated producer, and award winning filmmaker who is also a former beauty pageant title holder who has competed in the Miss USA pageant. She is known for her role as Alex Olanov on One Life to Live and for her role as Olivia St. on General Hospital. Please feel free to send any questions or comments while we're live. Welcome back to the show, Tonja.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad we could work this out today. I didn't have any Wi-Fi connection before. And I was with a person who just found out they had cancer. So I had to hang out with them. And then I ran out the back door and talked to you. And we had mountains and all kinds of stuff outside. So it just didn't work. So I'm really glad to be here.
It was very beautiful. I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. I hope things get better.
Me too. Me too.
I love when you're on the show, like last time. It needs someone beautiful like you to brighten up.
Oh, thank you. That Southern gentleman always has something nice to say.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I tell you, it's I've got a lot going on. I'm writing a thriller. It's a international political financial thriller with a writer who was a ghostwriter of some huge movies, and we're writing it together, and we have been for a while. And it should be a series. So we've got 2 episodes done, 10 episodes outlined, and we work 2 or 3 times a week for 3 hours at a time. So we've got that going on. And then I've been asked to help finance a show called, I hope my hand wasn't in the shot there.
No.
To help finance a show called Windy City in Chicago. It's a story of 2 very powerful families, and the husbands, one's dead and one's in like ICU or, coma or something like that. And the kids are not on the side of the mother. And I got the role of the mother in the one family, but the other family, we don't know what happened to his wife, but her sister thinks that I had something to do with her dying. So it's a great show, and it's kind of like Uncoupled. There's a gay element to it, which is kind of neat. Because I love Uncoupled. I thought it was great. So it's that and Succession, because the kids they want to be in charge, not the mom. And Dynasty, it's lots of money in both families. So that's another thing I'm doing.
That sounds exciting, especially
it is.
Especially if those 3 shows you named, I can't wait.
I know. Me too. We'll see. And then the Derby Stallion, I got back on television. It's on Amazon right now, and Tubi and Roku and a bunch of other AVOD channels. It's the first starring role Zac Efron ever had. And I made it in 2007. And so he was 16 at the time. And it was wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. And I didn't want my children to get into show business too early, because that doesn't always work out so well for kids. So I made them play my daughters, and the father was a man I love and dated for quite a while when I was out here in the early 80s. We started out in acting school together. Billy Moses, William R. Moses, he plays his dad. And this fabulous African-American actor named Bill Cobbs plays Houston Jones. And then Michael Nardelli plays the bad guy. And he's got, I think it's called Circle or Circus. It's a movie that he's got out. He's got his own production company. So we're all excited about that coming back. And now Starz wants it. So I have to take it from 16 millimeter to 2K or 4K. So I'm busy.
It sounds like it. I just can't believe you got so much going on and you're handling it so well.
I don't know if I am or not. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. This hair is just so interesting. It's hard to figure out. You have to push it the other direction than the camera is, and it's just not in my nature. Where's my hairdresser?
I had trouble with that for a while too, and I found the trick. You in the settings, you can mirror your image so that it's the right direction when you move. What you're seeing.
I am just the worst at computers.
I'm not great.
You'll have to
it.
help me with that. That would be great.
I absolutely would.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back to something we were talking about last week that we weren't really hearing real well. You went on tour originally singing, and you have a beautiful voice. You can find her on YouTube, and it's just phenomenal. I was listening to it earlier today.
Thank you.
So you started out.
I played Hoyt Axton's daughter, and he's passed away now, but he wrote "Joy to the World." You know, the Jeremiah was a bullfrog song. Yeah, and he wrote a lot of other ones too, but this is really, really big one for Three Dog Night. And he played my dad, and it was with Warner Brothers. And I was only here like 2.5 weeks when I got that, it was crazy. So I got that job, and we were waiting for it to, as soon as I think country music, I start getting an accent. I just cannot. Okay. So he wanted me to sing with him because he'd heard me in the finale of the pilot. It was like the Partridge Family meets Little House on the Prairie. I'm really aging myself, but I can't help it. So anyway, so that's it. So that's what it was. And it was just really a great show, and we were wondering if it was going to sell. So he asked me to come over and meet with him, and he said, look, you can't really do anything this summer because we're waiting to see what's going to happen. And so would you like to come out on the road with me and sing backups and be featured by yourself in the middle of our show? And I said, sure. Are you kidding? He said, we'll be on the Honeysuckle Rose bus. And, I said, is there a place to plug in my curlers? He said, yes. I said, good. Okay, then we're on. And we did one-nighters all over the country.
Wow.
And I was loving that. I loved that. We did The Tonight Show. We did Pop Goes the Country. We did Grand Ole Opry. We opened for Emmylou Harris in Oklahoma City. And the biggest one was the Jamboree in the Hills, because at the Jamboree in the Hills, there's 87,000 people.
Oh, my.
And that's a lot of people.
Yes, for sure.
You can't see over the crowd. As far as I could see, all the way to the mountains, and it's outside, that was audience.
Wow.
And it was sensational. It was just sensational. I had the best
time. That's a Woodstock size crowd, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was huge.
And I wanted to sing an obscure song, that I could recut, or, something that nobody really knew. And so then I could release it. And he said, you're singing Stand By Your Man. I said, I don't want to sing Stand By Your Man. And he said, well, too bad, right? So when I was at this Jamboree in the Hills, as soon as the band goes ba-bum, bum, bum, that's the way, everybody knows that's how Stand By Your Man starts, right? Mm-hmm. And so the band goes ba-bum, bum, bum, and everybody in the audience goes, yeah, like this. And I looked over backstage, and he said, what I tell you? So it was really funny, and it was really fun, and it was a joy. It was a real joy. I've been very, very, very lucky with my life. I got to sing after I met my husband in 97, and I left daytime television mostly for a while anyway. I got to meet Liza Minnelli. My husband was in her wedding, and and I sat behind Joan Collins, and we went out to dinner when she got engaged, and Henry Kissinger was there, and it was at the 21 Club in New York, and I just like Liza Minnelli. And then I got asked to sing with her at a Kander and Ebb tribute.
Oh,
And that was another like, oh my God moment, you know. There's just been a lot of them. I've had a really neat life, really big life.
That's
and
incredible.
And at Ed's 50th birthday party, I was able to get Michael McDonald to come and sing. And the reason that happened is because at one of these David Guest events, we had we were on the board of the United Cerebral Palsy of Ohio, and I knew the entertainment budget for their big event was $14,000. So I said, why don't we just bid this up, you know, and then we'll get him, if it was an auction, if he would come to your house and sing for a dinner party or something. I said, we could just have him come and sing for UCP. Let's do that.
Wow.
So we did.
Sure.
And then the man in charge in Cleveland wanted the Ohio State Marching Band instead of Michael McDonald.
No way. Oh, man.
I mean, there's just no accounting for taste. So we started a charity called Partners for Potential. And we had schools contact us if any minorities needed help paying for a better education because they were really bright. So we were able to raise money for that. And the way we did that is we had Michael McDonald come, and we had a big house, and we had him sing in a big tent in our driveway. And I was upstairs getting ready, and Michael McDonald was taking it to the streets, you know, in the sound check. And my husband comes running up the steps going, oh my God, I can't believe Michael McDonald's playing Take It to the Streets in my driveway. I just can't believe it. And I said, honey, I'm so happy for you. And I love Michael very much. And he actually sent flowers to Ed when he passed away at the funeral. So that was just like, you know, I've had a really big life. Now I'm just not sure what's next. So that's why I'm doing so many different things. That the pandemic really threw me off. Because I came down here and I couldn't go meet anybody. I couldn't see anybody. And my daughter is like the most talented, young, beautiful woman.
Yes, she is.
And I can't get in the door anywhere. I can't get in the door.
Wow.
I'm like, why can't I get in the door? Well, you know, we got this COVID thing. I'm like, it's been 2 years.
Is she looking to act or just to sing?
To see people. It's been very difficult to get in the door to see people. So I just haven't really tried that hard because I don't want to do this electronic stuff all the time. Obviously, I'm not very good at it.
I was going to say, I've talked to other guests about it as well, the COVID, about the electronic auditions, and it's split. Some are like, I love it. And then the other half are like, no, I want them to feel what I'm doing in person.
Me too. Me
too.
But I'm getting better at the self-tapes. But I don't want to sign with a representative that I haven't met.
Oh, for sure.
Right now I'm working with 2 people I've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a really, really weird thing. So this week I called in a friend of mine from Atlanta, and you know, he knows a lot of people. He's like best friends with Bon Jovi, and he represents a lot of acts in country music. And he said he knows a lot of people out here. So I'm going to have him. He said he would help Bella and I get in the room and meet the right people. So I hope he does. And I know he will if he can. I mean, I'm like not as probably in demand as my daughter is. Should be anyway. I don't know. I just don't know. There's a lot of parts now. I got the part last year in Designing Women. It was the play that Linda Bloodworth Thomason was putting together.
Yes.
And I was asked to come in, and I did to replace Eileen Hendricks, which was a real honor. She had to have a surgery, and so an ear thing. So I went in and without a real rehearsal, I went on in front of 500 people.
Wow.
So that was really cool. I loved it. I love theater. I'd never really done theater because I was single before I got married, obviously, and I had to make money,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't make a lot in theater. So now I'm really open to that, and I think that would be really fun. So I'm doing things I've never done before, which is kind of a
And that's good. You've got to, if you don't push yourself a little bit outside your comfort zone, you're just going to go stale.
yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
exciting.
we've got a few comments and questions. We'll catch up real quick. Hi, Tanya. I loved you in Capital. Do you know where I can get the early episode in English? Do you ever talk or see to the actors today from that show?
Yeah, Todd Curtis and I are friends. He's on my Facebook page. He's a magnificent guy. I thought he was probably the most handsome person that ever lived when I was on that show. my mom said, my mom said that he looked like, I think it was Victor Mature, who was a big star when she was young. And I said, oh, he couldn't look that much like him. So then I go back and I look at what Victor Mature looked like, and sure enough, there he was. Yeah, we still talk. And
Can you imagine doing Capital in today's politics?
I think it was before its time because they did West
Yes,
Wing. They did West Wing right after that, and it was definitely before its time because people love that stuff.
it was a
You
good
know.
show. I remember watching it as a young teen, watching it. It was good.
Yeah, I'm still friends with a lot of those people. I was really close with Marge Doucet until she passed away. Um, and God, there's so many I still talk to. Michael Catlin, um, just so many. I love those people because we all kind of started out together, and some of them shouldn't have died. It did die, young people.
Right.
Um, right now, I'm very, very, very. I was reading something that said, "Don't say very, say some other word." Uh, concerned about the fentanyl crisis in this country.
Extremely.
Every time my children go out, I'm like, don't keep your
It's
glass in your hand the whole time. Put your hand over your glass, get a lid if you can, don't, I mean, I just um, can't believe we have open borders. And I can't believe they've caught 98 terrorists. And I can't believe, over 2 or 3 million people have been let in the country in the past 3 years, and 700,000 of them are gotaways. How do we know who's here? And this election was so important to me. I was up all night. Um, and that's my biggest issue, that crime and the economy. But I'm pro choice up to like 15 weeks until the baby can
right.
feel, or the fetus can feel pain. I don't, um, we know more now than we did when I was a kid. When I
Yes.
was 20 years old, the doctor just told you that it was a blob of cells. That's all, for a
Yep.
long time. And now we've seen the pictures and we know what's really there. So I can't imagine a woman, unless it's an emergency, waiting that long. So I don't think that's a bad compromise, quite frankly. Um, but nobody really talks about compromises, do they?
No,
It's really
and
terrible. Lola, hush.
that's where we have a problem too. Is
Yeah,
that
that's my dog. Yeah.
communication's the biggest thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I'm very, very much for green, fix the world, but don't cut us off at the knees while you're doing it.
right.
Let's
Yes.
go green, but we need gas and oil for 1,000 different things before we're ready for that 100%. So you don't pull the plug on all that and make everything harder for the people that live here, and when we're not ready. Get
Right.
ready. Make it so I can go all the way across the country without a problem in an electric vehicle. Okay? Figure out what you're going to do without petroleum for clothes, batteries, plastic. Just figure out what you're going to do without that, and figure out if you need some, and how you're going to fix people's what they've got in the bank, the people that work in that field, make sure they're ready to transition, and then fine, let's go.
Right.
But to
Because
penalize us,
I would love to be able to do what you said, drive across the country in an electric car, but right now there's no way I would even attempt it.
well, you could. That would be silly, right?
I'm with you. They need to get up with the times, but communication
It's
and
not the way to do
communication.
it. It's not the way to do it. Pulling out of Afghanistan with the army before you get the people out. It's backwards. And that
Yeah.
really bugs me. And there's so many people that are so brilliant. I can't imagine how that could have happened. So I'm very political in that way. And I'm an independent. I'm not either party, obviously. Some people think I am, and I'm not. But I am very much for really what I feel like is best for everyone.
Well,
I think it's possible to have what's best for everyone.
right, for sure. Travois said, Tanya, I remember when you played Olivia Jerome. Plus, you went toe to toe with Maura West, Finola Hughes, William DeVry, and Laura Wright.
I did.
You
I'm so
did.
dead now. My Olivia is in the mental institution, but I think I read or heard that they said she got out or something, or that she was better, or that she was insane and now she's not. Some basically rerun of something that happened before.
Right.
But I remember saying to Frank, she's not she's not still in love with Duke Lavery. She got over that, and she fell in love with Colton, and she turned her life around, and she confessed, and then her brother shot her in the back, and he said, "I'm not bringing her back to be a nice person. Do you want to come back on the show or not?" I was like, "Oh yes, absolutely, I certainly do. Aye,
What,
sir." So that's what happened. I did like a couple of the lines where they hooked in One Life to Live with General Hospital.
yes,
You
that's
know,
awesome.
like give that cowboy a kiss for me. I think I had a line like that to
When you
Hillary
return,
Dudley Smith's character.
right? When you returned, did you have to go back and watch some of the old you, or did you just jump right back? It was just
No, I know
natural.
my characters backwards and forwards. That's why
That's
I was
awesome.
able to tell him, but uh, it's hard for everybody to stay on the same page when they've got 45 or 60 or whatever that they've got to remember over how many decades. But it's easy for us because we just got to think about us, you know? So I miss doing that show because I love those actors. They're so incredibly good,
I
But
miss One Life to Live
Finola
the
is so
most.
good. Oh my God, forget about it. Mara West is so good. I mean, it's just so many good, really good actors. And I would love to work with Tristan. Tristan and I almost did a pilot together a while back. I'm a big fan of his.
I don't know. Did you ever work with Marie Wilson?
No.
No, I didn't know if you did or not on there. So I'm going to jump to One Life to Live. I'm not sure how you are about that, your memory, but that was my show, my number
It was
one.
the best time I ever had, Tim, in my whole life.
I loved your character, Alex Olanov.
Yeah.
Loved her. She was like one of my top 3 favorite characters on that show forever.
Thank you.
Loved it. You played her so well, and
Thank
you made it more real because it was always the rich people. You brought in. You're like, oh no, Asa. Guess what? you know, and that outfits and the jewelry you got to wear. It was funny. There's somebody did a compilation of you. It's called Women in Fur Coats, and it's mostly you in your fur coat
You're
from
kidding.
Alex.
They did?
No. Yes.
Oh
I'll
my
try to find
gosh,
it and
I've got
send
to
it to
see
you.
that. I've got to see
It was
that.
just it was called Fur Coats. And they've got several episodes, but one of them was mostly you, and then one was Oh, I can't even. She played Blake on As the World Turns, but yeah, it was phenomenal. But how did you
Cassie
love?
DePaiva?
No, it was.
I don't
Oh,
know, but
I
I
can
bet it
tell
was
you.
fun.
It
Yeah.
was. Didn't.
I was against fur coats for a long time when I was on General Hospital.
Well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, and it's still a controversial subject.
Not if you move to Cleveland. Mm-mm. I married a
Elizabeth.
man from Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, Cleveland, Ohio. It's cold, and
Yes.
those those fake furs that they said would keep me just as warm as the real thing didn't. So I decided that, judge not lest ye be judged. It was sincerely too cold, just too daggone
Yes.
cold. And in New York City, the heat from the subway keeps things pretty warm. Even when it snows, it doesn't snow anywhere near as much and stuff like that as it does in Connecticut. But Connecticut gets really cold too. So I
Yes, it
spent
does.
over 20 years in those places. And, you know, so I have a few of those fur coats, but I've given some away and but sometimes you really need them, but out here you sure don't. Out
Oh
here
well,
you
no.
sure don't.
It was
Yeah.
Elizabeth Dennehays who I was thinking of.
Oh,
Was the other
cool.
person.
That's cool.
Let's see.
Well,
Tanya
Susan Gammy
had
was our costumer, and she just kicked it. She was just like so good, so good, so good.
Tanya would be fabulous in Bold and the Beautiful. And my
Oh,
favorite comment here is Alex Olanov needs to show up to General Hospital.
I've heard that before. I've
I would
heard that
love that.
before. I'm
I want.
willing to do whatever they want me to do. Um, but there was a time I think it was 2017 that I was stupid, and I wrote on Twitter. I found out that all these people weren't standing for the anthem, the national anthem,
Yes.
and my whole family on my mom's side there's not a man on that side of the family that didn't go in the service except my uncle Glenn, all the way back forever. And then Glenn went
Right.
into the car business, and everybody else was in the service. So I just said, you guys are so lucky that you get paid millions of dollars to play a game on Sunday because of the lives that have been given by the soldiers. So you should stand for the anthem. And they called me a racist. It was like
That's wrong.
popcorn. It was
That's
like
so wrong.
popcorn. It came up like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh my God, I've never been a racist. Oh, and my best friend's daughter, I'm the godmother of her African American daughter. So I'm trying to write that in there, and they're like, yeah, sure. And then I told them about the money that we gave to the kids that needed it in Ohio. Yeah, pay for my education. And the next day, I got a call saying they weren't going to do my story in that October. And I said, did that have anything to do with this horrible Twitter storm I was in last night? And they said, no, but I think it did. So I don't know if I'll ever get to go back there or not.
That's not right. That's no wrong for people to do that. Someone gaslit them, lit that conversation, and that's why it went the way it did. It was just people, and people are so cruel when they can be anonymous.
Well, my husband died.
Yes, he did. And I'm
My
so sorry
children
for
lost
that.
their daddy. I need to work. And it just wasn't right for them to do that to me, you know? But, and I'm not
And for
saying them, meaning ABC. I'm just saying anybody.
but for a
You should.
company to take something from social media of all places and have it affect your life like that, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't agree with ABC on that at all.
No, it
Or
may not have
whoever
been.
made that
They
decision.
said it wasn't. They said it wasn't the Twitter thing. So it's possible it wasn't. And I think I said you should be grateful you could be raking leaves somewhere. And they thought that was a racist comment. And I was trying to think of a mundane job that would fit into 120, because at that time you could only have 120 characters.
Right.
Um, I thought I was so clever because I thought it was just like, a mundane job. And I paid a price for that. I paid a price for that. So I have to be really careful about everything I say. Anytime I go online and say anything, these two wonderful people that run an Olivia Jerome fan club page for me on Facebook, they call me.
I'm in it.
Are you?
Yes.
They call me up and they're like, Tonja, that could be misinterpreted. I'm like, what? They're like, that could be misinterpreted. They wouldn't want me to say the things I've said to you. They want me to just, talk about the weather, growing bougainvillea. I don't know.
But that's not
me.
right.
I'm not one of those people. That's why I play those strong women on television, because that's who I am. I don't, I'm not evil. But there's an outspoken, unafraid person that I can grab when I get a strong woman role. And and I won't take any crap from anybody. And there's a part of me that's like that. And a huge part of me that's like that.
I just think it's sad that that people can't say how they feel without being attacked. If I see something I don't agree with,
because that's one of the main things about our country, that you should be able to say what you want.
If I
not
see something
rude and not obnoxious and not disgusting.
If I see things that offend me or upset me, I scroll past it. Don't comment. Exactly. I don't like it. You just scroll past it. It's simple.
What do you think about Elon Musk taking control of Twitter?
We'll see. I know there's a lot of upset people, and I understand, and I kind of agree that mark needs to be earned. It's not, because I could start a Tonja Walker and say, I'm Tonja Walker, and get paid to get the blue check mark. And then nobody knows which one is. And that's not right.
Yeah. I still have a blue check mark, I think.
Everybody does. I've been watching to see what happens, because I know Stephen King is very distraught about it. He said that he would be gone. He would leave Twitter.
Well, I think Elon's so brilliant. My gosh, I mean, he'll come up with a way. He'll come up with a way that he can have people verify if it's you or not. You shouldn't be able to just buy your way in.
Well, I don't know Elon Musk, but he seems the type that he likes to shake things up. Whether he's meaning what he's saying at that moment, he just wants to shake things up and see how people react. And then he'll come out and say, all right, well, this is what we need to do.
Well, what I really think is that he wants $8 from those of us who already have a check mark. And then he wants to add that cost to another person that they verify.
But see, I noticed, because I went and checked it out, I'm not going to buy a blue check mark, but I did look at it. They said that I could get it for $4.99 a month. I don't understand where the $5, where this is coming from.
Did they had a fire sale?
I guess, but they were like, yeah, for $4.99 a month.
Friday blue check mark. Yeah.
And then I'm hearing the $8. That's where I'm kind of confused there. Somebody threw a number out there that's confusing everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to do it and screenshot it so I can share it with people.
Thank you. Send it to me. I'd love to see it. I really do think he'll come up with a way to verify people and charge them.
He might come up with a red mark. Change the mark totally.
It could happen.
It could. Would you do another podcast like Straight Talk Live? Someone's asking.
Actually, I'm planning on it. I'm writing. I'm doing all this writing. But I have a comedy show that I created that's coming from my online dating experiences, and I've got some stories from some friends.
Friends.
Pretty funny. Really funny. The tragic, funny, crazy, romantic, not romantic. It's just the greatest. So much fun. So that's coming.
Have you ever done that?
Done
online
what?
dating?
constantly.
Really?
Yes. How are
I'm
you
scared
supposed to
to
meet
death.
somebody when you're not allowed to leave your house?
That's true. That's true.
So
Good
I
point.
was dating a congressman from Virginia for 6 months, and I was in love with him.
Wow.
And it was the first time that I ever felt anything. It's the first person I dated in 3 years. I mean, Ed's been gone. It'll be 4 years now. But the first half of this year, I was in love. And I'm grateful that I had that experience because I didn't think it was possible.
I'm glad you did. I'm so happy that you did. Just even if
Yeah,
it
me
didn't
too.
last, but it kind of opened you up to say,
It
hey,
lasted about 5 or 6 months.
it
And
opened you up. You see what could be possible still. You see the
I couldn't
possibilities.
believe it. I couldn't believe it.
You'll
That
never
doesn't
love
happen to
anybody.
me.
Well,
It
you'll
never
never love
happened to me.
anybody like you did your husband. You'll never will. But you love him differently. The same, as much, just differently.
Yeah, I really love this man. I was really happy. So I know it can happen, and I haven't found one since then, but you just don't fall for people like that. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You can have a lot of fun dates and you can go out with people and enjoy yourself, but really falling for someone is rare,
Yes, it is.
and so I'm not looking for it to happen again real soon. It might, but I don't really expect it to, because I got married when I was 37 years old. And I didn't have to kiss a lot of frogs. I did, but I didn't have to. I kissed a lot of really wonderful people, really hot, wonderful, gorgeous, successful people.
Look at you. Look at
But I
you. I
didn't
mean, come
feel, I
on.
didn't have that feeling that I couldn't ever live without them, And so when you feel that again, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm feeling like this. And the fact that it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, you know, I trust God with my life.
Yes, I do too.
So, you know,
I do as well.
so he
That's one
must
thing
be
that I'm.
protecting me from something really bad. That's all I can say. And that wouldn't be this guy that's really bad. He's a good guy. It's just he had his own path he had to follow, and I totally respect that. It just was painful, really painful. It's still a little painful, honestly. So you go on these websites, right? And oh my God, the first picture, for instance, this one guy on this one website, he is so hot. This first picture, I mean, wow, movie star time. And the second picture is pretty good. Third picture's fine. The next picture is usually like a picture of a giraffe or an ocean or a boat or a car or their house or their dog or their kid or something. Then there's a couple more. And this went on till picture 14. And in picture 14, there's a man sitting there like this with his legs apart and his belly out and his hair sticking straight up. And he looked similar to the guy in the first picture, but you would never think that if you hadn't been on the same page as this person.
Right.
And then I go down and he says he was 62 or something like that. So then I scroll down and it says he'll only date somebody between 25 and 45. So I was ticked off. Don't tick me off. So I was ticked off. And down at the bottom, there's a little place for a message. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
wrote,
no.
I said, so which one are you, number 1 or number 14?
Did you get a response?
It took a long time for him to write me back. And he'd come to see me, like you can see how often they've come to see you, and he'd come to see me like so many times, and I just laughed. And then finally he said, I'm all of them. And I was like, well, that's nice. And I just, bye. But that's just one of the teensy weensy little stories. I mean, I've got more stories than Carter's got pills, and I've got friends, you know, because this is happening a lot. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, that get divorced after their kids go to college. And like, I don't want to steal a joke from Dana Carvey, but he says, you know, science won't let us die, right? So, you know, you've been married a really long time, like since high school, and you get to be married like, I don't know, 30 years. And you look at your husband or your wife and you go, do I want another 30 years of that? Just that? I mean, it was great and everything, but right? So Dana Carvey says that this is happening all the time. And I was like, he's right. I know a lot of people that got divorced after their kids went off to college or graduated from college or whatever. And all these sites pop up, you know, and it's just like, you know, and I'm like, I don't drink, see?
Right.
And I moved away. I moved away from everybody I knew, you know, in Connecticut and New York City.
Yeah. That's brave there to do that.
Well,
necessary, but brave.
Yeah. I'm not going to go to a bar. And
Right.
I would love it if somebody would just try to fix me up with somebody else, but they don't, because they're all married. So, and I would never date anybody that's separated or, you know, anything like that. So, you know,
there's a show right there. Let's do a show about dating Tonja.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That'd be a hit.
That's a little bit too much, too close to home. But if it's me and a whole bunch of my friends, that's fine. And my friends are all over the country. Like they're just all over. Like one's in Saratoga Springs and she's single, and one's in Florida, but she's kind of not single anymore. But there's people that call me with stories too of that, like they finally got married and they used to be on Match.com and now they're married and they're really happy. But before that,
right,
and they've got some funny tales to tell, you know. But the way I met my husband is I became the man I wanted to marry. I had my own house, my own 401k, my own money in the bank, my own, you know, BMW convertible. I had my own dog, my own cat. But I would come home and say, hi, honey, I'm home. And there was no one there. And I wanted to have babies. And so every date was an interview for fatherhood. And my friends would say, you know, you're putting a little pressure on these guys.
I was fixing to say no pressure.
Yeah, you need to kind of back off. You know, you've got enough money to have kids, so why don't you just either have one or adopt one? And my girlfriend adopted 2 beautiful children from Catholic charities. So I got all the paperwork. It was this much. I got all the paperwork for that, and I was going down that road and filling out those papers, and so I wasn't interviewing for fatherhood anymore. And I just wanted to get another great job. And I'd left One Life to Live to come out to LA to do nighttime in movies, like I'd started doing when I first got here in 1980. And my sister called and said she thought I should go to the Deepak Chopra Center for Wellbeing. I said, that is so expensive. Why didn't you tell me that when I was on the show, when I had a paycheck coming in? And she said, I don't know, Tonja, but I'm just telling you, I think you need to go. Okay. So I go. And she called me, like, how do you like it? I said, well, I like it a lot, but there's this guy, and he's like, he's obnoxious. I mean, he talks back to the teacher. He's like a know-it-all. It's like he's already done this stuff. He already knows about it. He asks a zillion questions. He's kind of loud. And every time I go out to get a cup of coffee, which I'm not supposed to get because you're not supposed to drink coffee, but I can't stand anybody telling me what to do, or what not to do. So I'm going to get coffee on the breaks, and then he's coming out to talk to me and stuff. He's a little obnoxious, but I ended up marrying him.
Isn't that the luck? When you say you're not and you end up doing.
Isn't that funny?
It is. Shannon's asking, is Destination Heaven streaming yet?
No, but thank you for thinking of that. That was so much fun. I got to work with Doug Jones, who a lot of people don't know his face because he's frequently wearing like latex masks and stuff for like Star Wars and all these different things. Yes. Hocus Pocus. He's the that poster. That's him. Yeah. But he's so funny, and he's such a physical comic actor, that and I'd never played like a dumb blonde before, so funny. So maybe Mr. Merlin, but that was about it. So I'm cast as his love interest in Destination Heaven, and Harry Lennox, who's plays the FBI agent. I guess the head of the FBI on Blacklist.
Yes.
He was the director, Harold. And I didn't know that until I got there. I was so excited. And he also plays God.
Okay. Oh, does he?
Yes. So, anyway, this particular episode is about Doug Jones plays this creepy, bad used car salesman, like stereotypical, he's like watching the car go down the street and says, just be quiet for a second. I'm going to make sure that the engine doesn't fall out, and I can count this in my win column. Okay, just a minute, honey. Bye. And he goes around the corner and he's like, oh, good. That's one for me. So, anyway, he has a heart attack and he dies and he goes to heaven, and he meets Harry Lennox, and Harry's not happy with the way he's behaved. So I won't tell you the whole thing, but so then he wants to become a Christian, but he doesn't want me to come with him because he thinks that it's a one man, one God kind of thing. And it's not for, it's just, he just can't get the whole concept of love and fairness and equality and stuff like that. So I guess every episode has a moral, but this one is so funny. I just died. I just loved it so much. And I had the best time. I'm like, well, I'll learn it with you. I'll devote my life to Christ too, or whatever. And he's like, no, this is between me and God, not you, So then, God's not happy with him there either. So it just gets better and better. So I'm hoping that'll be in January or spring. I don't know if it's going to be winter or spring, but it's exciting.
Well, you've gotten a lot of love. Someone said Tonja's the sweetest and definitely not racist. Someone said, first time for me to see you in an interview. You're amazing, so sweet and awesome.
Oh, that's nice.
If you're asked, would you go back to General Hospital? That would need
probably,
some. I was going to say it would just take a little thought, I think, before you make it.
Probably, if they really want me, I'd go back. Sure.
Well, soaps and nighttime and film are two totally different things. I mean, I don't know really. How you on soap. Well, I mean, as far as the pages, you have to know so many pages in a day.
That's not a problem. That's never been a problem. Yeah.
Amaze me how y'all do that.
Yeah, that part. I just got so used to it. But the key is how you break down your script. Really, that's right. What is your character trying to say? Who is your character? Who is she? How does she feel about men? How does she feel about children? How does she feel about her mother and her father and her house and where she lives and marriage and singlehood and all that? You just have to know, and you have to make it up. They don't have time to tell you that stuff. So
Right.
you look what the character, what the other characters say about you, what the writers say about you, and what the director tells you, and then you fill in the blanks. And then you kind of know what your character would say, right? So then when you're reading your script, you back up what they're saying with what you know they're thinking. So then if you know what they're thinking, then it's easier to remember what you're saying,
Right.
just
And,
like in
and
real life, right?
once you get used to that character, or that character, kind of, I guess it would come natural responding to people.
But you have to
of
learn
how
to
they
do
would.
that with every script, even if it's a one episode of something.
With you
Yeah.
explaining all of this, have you ever thought about teaching or coaching?
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
I think you would be really, really good at it. I think you could
Thank
help a
you.
lot of people.
I had
Uh,
a Tonja Walker's professional performing arts studio when I lived in Connecticut. And that was because I wanted my children to take the opportunity to get a monologue and a song, so that when they did decide to go to New York and audition for Broadway, they would have those two key elements that you must have. No one was teaching that. So I did. So I
and
got all the I just got all the monologues and all the songs that I thought would be right for all these kids, and I had like 30 kids, and the perfectionist that I am, I really didn't need the money at the time, but you want to make a little money. Well,
right.
I had 30 kids. But I didn't want their moms to have to pay for the music. I didn't want their dads to have to pay for the scripts. So I paid for the scripts, and I paid for the music, and I paid for the accompanist that we really didn't need. And then I decided we should have an opening number and a closing number. And then I did like Fiddler on the Roof, matchmaker,
Right.
matchmaker, make me a match. And I had the strings going by and the right outfits on everybody and the kids doing these solos and the lighting right and the place I rented. I mean, it was just, I broke even, right?
Well, at least you broke even. It was set. I was thinking you were probably going in the hole with all of this you were
Oh
talking
my
about.
God. And then the parents, wanted to sign him up again for the next year. And my husband said, "Can we afford it?" And each of them had a monologue and a song that they performed for their family and for the audience and everything. But the opening number and the closing number was really, really fun. One time we did Hairspray, one time we did Fiddler. And there were people's children, people's mother, the kids' mothers came up to me, and the dads came up to me, some of them, and said that these particular children of theirs had never been able to stand in front of a group of people and say anything.
And look how much you changed those 30 kids' lives. I
That
mean,
felt amazing.
you could
So,
have 30 young actors and just not even know it yet.
yeah, I would really like to do that. I think that would really be fun. What happened was I skipped my senior year of high school to go to college. And I'd gone to Hopkins for the study of verbally gifted youth. They'd chosen me to do that when I was 14. I was kind of a nerd. And then I wanted to get out of high school and grow up and go to college right away, so I did. And then I was there another year, and then I won Miss Maryland USA. And Richard Klein discovered me, him and his manager from Three's Company, and said, "Please come out for just 2 weeks." And the first week, I got a national commercial in a movie with Matt Dillon.
Yes.
The second week, I got a miniseries at NBC and signed to a contract in NBC.
Incredible.
So I kept calling my mom and saying, "I'll be home as soon as this one's over," right? So anyway, I never went back to school full time. So I don't know if I could teach again, because I don't know if I can teach I know I can't teach in a school without a degree, no matter how much experience I have.
You could do some online acting classes like you did, or take on a few students if
Yeah,
you
this
chose.
wasn't online. This was in person. This was
Right.
awesome. But I don't know. I'm probably gonna go back to school.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And a good place to meet people too.
You're right.
Sure
Why did we
is.
wait so long to have this interview? You just gave me some really good advice.
Well, good. I'm glad I was able to help. I
Me
tried.
too. I'll let you know how it goes.
For sure. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for being here. I really hope that you will come back because you are so lovely. I love you
Thank
having
you,
you on
hon.
here.
Thank
And
you.
if you
Thanks
all
for
didn't
having
know,
me.
Tanya is on Cameo. You can find her and get a personalized message sent to you or someone else. You hear
Yep.
from her. Well, Tanya, if you hang on backstage for just a minute, I'll be right back there.
Okay. God bless. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
I'd like to thank Tanya for being here today. I would like to thank the NFF for sponsoring our show. For more information on necrotizing fasciitis, please visit www.necfasc.org. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great upcoming episodes. Please remember to be kind to one another and have a great day.